moving toward the east at 15 miles an hour, producing a lot of lightning, winds potentially gusting up to 60 miles an hour.
If you want to know if your relationship could stand the test of time, build a shed together. Building a shed will like make you realize how clearly you have to communicate.
Yep, and now we just have to do the rest of the roof, which will require cutting, and that's going to be a pain.
Baby, I love this t-shirt you have. Why are you building a shed?
I'm professional.
It's just a lot that goes into building a shed. And I mean, there would be times you get frustrated about something. And it has nothing to do with, you and your partner. It's just like the stress of building a shed. Like, there's a lot of mathematical calculations that go into it.
Yeah, especially if you've never done it before. I mean, they say measure twice, cut once, because you have to make sure, because you're always going to get confused or make a mistake on which way you're measuring. But especially for roofs that are pitched, like that have angles, they have trigonometry involved, it can get really complicated. Get it moving. And then I put a step up there so I can have a place to have. So I screwed a 2x4 to the plywood. It's not very sturdy. It's not very safe. Plywood around so it faces correctly. It's cool. These plywood have these markings on them for studs for the rafters or the joists, whatever they're sitting on.
Good?
Yeah, less shaking all the time, which is good.
Awesome.
Now you think we're gonna sit up here and reach way under to hold up this board?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Because that requires you to do that. You have to lean off the edge, maybe even on your belly.
Right. We could put the ladders against this plywood and then...
Yeah, true.
And then hoist the board, put one ladder here, and then both walk up the ladders with the board in our hands. I was gonna do like this and walk it up like okay. Hit it.
Oh my Lord.
Is that scary or what?
Whoa. That wind is like, it's not even blowing hard right now, but it's just like, whew, I'm alive.
Yeah, 2 of them.
What?
Wow.
They got the bird.
Was that a bird?
Yeah. Holy smokes.
It's scary. We better get inside.
Oh man.
Lordy.
Okay, it's gonna be fast.
Whoa! Whoa!
Everyone's windows are up, right?
How you feel, baby?
I am disappointed, but I'm so happy because it could have been so much worse. I'm standing next to it.
Sitting next to it.
I was putting these things together, and I dropped my screwdriver and started videotaping the tornadoes that were forming on the water. And then John was behind me. We were both like yelling about the tornadoes. You came out, and I finished my video and turned around, and the shed
Yeah.
fell at that point.
I literally watched it go down. Yeah.
You
Stint
came
from
out-
here.
Yeah, you came out with the video,
Yeah.
but you hadn't started yet, and then it went down. All three of us, and Josephine looking at it.
That wind was serious. I mean, you couldn't stand up straight.
Yeah.
So you're thinking, what can we learn from? What could we have done better for the shed?
Yeah, exactly. That's where, well, so Tim is now at the point where he's mourning the shed, and immediately after the collapse yesterday, like really mourning it, because there was a lot of hard work that went into it, and he did more work than I did. And so I'm already at the point where I'm like, what could we have done to prevent the toppling over?
Yeah.
Because I think even if we had had the top panels and the roof complete, so the gusts of wind couldn't have got in the inside and helped lift it up and knock it over. Mm-hmm. I almost feel like it was still unstable.
Yeah. I think it was the side walls, the narrower walls. I guess it's the front and back wall.
Okay.
With the door.
The door and the back. The
back wall. Yeah. That only had a few sheets of sheathing to brace them sideways. We had braces on there, and I removed the braces to put the sheathing on, but I should have braced it on the inside. I should have taken the braces off the outside and put the braces on the inside, because really that's what it needed. I think it needed bracing on those narrow walls.
And when you got up on the roof to complete portions of the roof, do you think that's why it was still swaying a little bit?
No, because it would sway side to side. So that, I'm not sure. That's a good question. Maybe it needed more bracing on the tall wall, also the 10-foot wall. On the 10-foot wall, I had bracing at the bottom of it, crosswise bracing, which keeps it from swaying like that. But it was only like halfway up the wall. I should have put it all the way up the 10 feet. Which I was planning on doing that as well. So, yeah, there were a couple things, like that was something I knew I had to do. But the short walls, I think, I didn't even think about them, but I should have had them braced.
I'm still sad.
I know. And there were several just strengthening things that I could have done. I could put more fasteners in all of the structure. I always skimp on fasteners because I hate wasting things.
I mean, granted, this was the first shed we built together. And so it's like, while this was an epic failure due to Tornado Gate, I think it was still successful in that we're now, I think we would do it again.
Yeah.
And we would do it
definitely.
very differently.
We learned.
Yeah. Very differently.
Yep. Yeah, I would also strengthen the pillars underneath it that they were leaning.
Wait, and one of the things that you guys don't know is that we decided to do a shingle roof, red shingles to match the red metal roof here. Shingles are cheaper than metal roofing, and we plan to have a roofer handyman come by Saturday. The storm, what's today? Thursday? So the storm was Wednesday, so we were going to have the roofer guy come by on a Saturday. And I think that the storm was somewhat of a blessing in disguise because if like we just don't know if the roofer handyman had one or two people and if they both
Right.
got up there and they moved it a certain way, if it would have collapsed. I mean, that's a
Yeah.
legitimate concern.
Yep.
And while Tim got up there, he was the only one up there, and he was very careful and very strategic with how he got up there.
Yep.
Yeah. So
So it could have been bad if a whole team of roofers got up there. It could have collapsed while they're up there. That would have been real bad.
I mean, granted, the gusts of wind is what really took it over, toppled it over.
Mm-hmm.
That sheer force. What was the knot of it?
Oh, it was gusts up to 50 knots. Yeah,
So that, and Joss said that's Tim's sister's Jocelyn.
57 miles an hour. Or
Yeah,
something.
yeah. That, I mean, when we were standing out there, we nearly like fell over at one point. So it was some strong wind.
Yeah. Yeah, but it would have had it. That would have happened eventually sometime. So better to happen now before we do the roof, before we pay to have the roof done, than
I agree.
after we've paid.
But that was like $3,000 in materials.
Yeah.
So it's like, better. I'm glad we didn't spend the extra $500 or whatever dollars it was to have gotten the roof done.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Lessons learned.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh.